Welcome to Momtroversial, the podcast that dives headfirst into the beautiful chaos of motherhood and dishes on the stuff we wish we would have known and nobody tells you. This is your tribe for informed consent and unfiltered real talk. I'm Leah, your scrunchy nurse and your hot mess express, here to remind you that it's fine, we're fine, and everything's fine.
I'm Alyssa, a crunchy mom who's all about organic living. I'm organized, opinionated, and your designated wing woman in any parenting bar fight.
And joining us later is Tori, your ride or die chaos coordinator who will absolutely hold your baby and your secrets. Today, we are going to talk about clean baby swaps. We're all about healthy, toxic free living in our homes, and we can't control what the rest of the world introduces to us and our children, but we can control what we allow into into our homes. And that all starts with babies. It starts when we bring our babies home. And there is so much stuff to this topic in the clean swaps that I know I didn't know before I had kids. And before I even met Alyssa, I didn't know and have learned so much about. And so we're going to talk about all of the clean switches that you can make and give you guys some amazing information just to help you so you guys don't have to figure it all out on your own like we did. So, one of the first questions I want to ask is, Alyssa, what is one commercial baby product that you ditched early on and why? So, what was one of the first swaps you decided to make in your home?
Okay, diapers. I feel really strongly about diapers because they're attached to your baby 24/7. Um, the private area, we'll say, is just the skin there is uh, it's got the thinnest membrane, I think might be the right way to put it, but it's the place where in all of your child's body, other than maybe their mouth, where they absorb the most. So whatever you're putting directly on um, their privates is what's being absorbed directly into their body. So for me, diapers, I did with Reagan, my wonderful best friend in Tennessee, through Ryan, a diaper party. And we literally did not buy diapers for the first 10 months of Reagan's life. And we used Pampers and Huggies and Loves. um, but when I started, uh, Reagan was kind of my experiment, as all first children are. And so I was learning slowly about different
Yep.
things, which please keep that in mind. Everything that we've implemented, at least for me, I've implemented over the last 3.5 years. This was not, I'm
Hmm.
throwing out everything and I'm going to go spend $3,000 on new products, not even slightly. Um, what happened was I needed new diapers for Reagan. And I had followed this person that was like, you need this specific kind of diaper. And I was like, why can't I use regular diapers? So I looked into it, and there's essentially four classifications of diapers. You've got your cloth diapers, which if you want to be toxin free, um, that that's the way to go. I want to cloth diaper. I don't want to cloth diaper, so I don't. And then so then on the disposable diaper side, you have um, regular diapers, Pampers, Huggies, that kind of thing. Those are treated and bleached in chlorine and other chemicals. And so that is what's being absorbed by your baby when they're wearing them. Then you've got elemental chlorine-free diapers. Elemental chlorine-free diapers are Pampers Pure. They're the Every Life brand. Um, Hello Bello, Honest. They're all elemental chlorine-free. They're a better choice, but they are still they're processed adjacent with chlorine. So you'll see the elemental chlorine free people, they'll say, well, it's no different than total chlorine free. My response to that is, then why is it a different category? It doesn't make sense. So it's better. There's less chlorine, there's less chemicals in the diaper that is being absorbed by your baby, but they're still there. And the last classification is totally chlorine-free diaper. Totally chlorine-free diapers are Cottery. They're Pura, it's an Amazon brand. It's a UK brand that sells on Amazon. That's actually really, really affordable. Um, let's see, you've got Junia, you've got Kudos, Parasol, uh, just to name a few. And um, I'll tell you where you can find all that information, at least where I think it's all bundled up in a nice little bow for you. Total chlorine-free diapers is what we use. Oh, Millie Moon is elemental chlorine-free. That's a really popular one. Out of Target, Millie Moon, they're elemental chlorine-free. We actually used elemental or Millie Moon while they were total chlorine-free, and then they switched to elemental chlorine-free because it's cheaper. So that's what they do. They don't change the price. They just switch to cheaper materials. Um, so now we've used Pura while we were in Korea because it's all we could get shipped to APO. And now we use a mix of Junia and Parasol and love them. But yeah, that's diapers. There's an Instagram account called Raising Well Kids that helps break it down. And she just literally brings all the brands and she even breaks it down to price per diaper um, that you can go look at. And we'll link that in the show notes. She's incredibly useful. I'll talk about her for like sunscreen and wipes too. But don't reinvent the wheel. She's gathered, maybe do your research on, total chlorine free, elemental chlorine free, that kind of thing. If you don't want to take our word for it, which you go, girl. Um, but she's got it all organized in a nice little bow for you. So take advantage.
Can you briefly break down just for the listeners what is the difference between elemental chlorine and like completely chlorine free when it comes to our children and those diapers?
So elemental chlorine free diapers are processed in it's a process. They've processed out the chlorine out of what they're using to bleach the pulp and stuff, but they used chlorine to, what's the word? Um, they use chlorine to sanitize it, kind of purify it, because chlorines are really good, it kills everything. Um, and
Hmm.
then they say that all the chlorine is gone by the time the diaper touches it. I I personally don't believe that because why would you be differentiating it? Why would it be a different category if it was all gone? And you're also still dealing with whatever the reactions are with the chlorine and everything else that's being used. Um, Total chlorine free is no chlorine is used to bleach the diaper, period. Um, they're using other safer methods to do that. And a lot of the diaper companies, if you go on their websites, will tell you exactly how they do it, which is really nice. Normally, if you can find that, then it's a good diaper. If they're not telling you or they're saying, oh no, it's fine, it's like it's elemental chlorine free, then they're hiding something. So I just personally don't want that.
And so, what are some of the effects of the chlorine in diapers in one of the most sensitive areas for our kids? Did you notice a difference for Reagan? Because I know you said you started out just using normal, regular big brand diapers, and then you had learned about the chlorine in the diapers, and you guys started to make a switch. Did you notice a difference? And what changed for her?
Yeah, so I did notice a few differences. The biggest one though, diaper rash. Reagan had like she was just always a little red down there, but it
Hmm.
didn't seem to bother her. So I was like, I guess it's fine, you know? And she would get diaper rashes, like more rashy, not frequently, but like it was enough that I noticed. Like she kind of has a diaper rash a lot, or she's just a little bit red. And I was like, well, maybe that's just how it's supposed to be. Like I don't know, she's my first kid. Like maybe it's just a little more red down there. Because it wasn't bumpy most of the time, unless it was like a full-blown diaper rash. It wasn't bumpy, it was just red. Like it looked a little irritated, but she wasn't irritated, so I was like, okay. Um,
Hmm.
and it wasn't until I switched to the Millie Moon diapers and the Millie Moon wipes, um, where the redness just went away. And I was like, wait a second. Um, and that's when I kind of realized, oh my gosh, it was all the chemicals that I'm now trying to avoid. I guess I am avoiding them, and she's fine. Um, so it wasn't, some kids like get like full-blown chemical rashes. And you can tell like as soon as you use a new diaper, um, it's just a full-blown chemical rash. A lot of people like Thrive Market diapers. I tried them for Reagan because they were cheaper, and that happened to us. And those I think are total chlorine free. So like sometimes the diaper, they're still using other chemicals, and your kid might just have an allergy to that, or might um, just not react well to that. It's just kind of a trial and error. I also felt like the Thrive Market diapers were like really rough and just not comfy at all. So we immediately stopped those. But yeah, a big thing is the rash. I think that would be the biggest visual thing. Maybe your kid would start acting differently. I don't know. That didn't happen to me, so I don't really have a ton of knowledge there, I guess. But the big thing for us was like the constant redness, then the rashes, um, could be a chemical rash. And you just don't know because like everyone tells you, oh, well, babies get diaper rashes. Well, I mean, my kids still get diaper rashes, don't get me wrong, but very, very rarely. Like very, very rarely do they get rashy. And it's only when like they pooped in the middle of the night and have been sitting in it the whole night because they didn't wake up, that kind of thing. Um, I rarely use diaper cream at this point in my life. And even since we started using total chlorine free diapers.
Yeah, so I'll have to say for us, I do cloth diapering. I used regular diapers for Declan when he was little because I just didn't know. And then I decided to make the switch to cloth diapering, to be totally honest, because one, it's just in the long term. He was my first kid. It's cheaper ultimately, like long term, if you do the math. And then the other reason why was because I had read a book and it was talking about, all of the diapers that end up in the landfills and like how awful it is for the environment. And that just kind of like helped sell me on doing the transition. And so with Ella, we've used cloth diapers with her since day one, where the only like stuff that it touches, the only chemicals that touch her diapers are the detergent that I use at home to wash everything, which is all natural stuff. And I have to say, she never gets diaper rash. She had one yeast infection in the year she's been alive, and then any other irritability she has down there is literally from if she has like a really nasty like blowout of a diaper that I didn't catch and she had to sit in it for probably longer than obviously anyone should, which doesn't happen super often. But that's the only time she ever gets any irritability down there. So I do have to say, when you say that, one of the differences of using elemental chlorine free and chlorine free diapers with your kids is the lack of irritability. I've definitely noticed a stark difference for Ella because we haven't had that as an issue like we did. I feel like Declan had several diaper rashes um, his first year of life that we had to deal with, and I was just using regular diapers at that point. Um, Tori, with your kids, I know you use Pura for Charlie, which is one of the brands that is totally chlorine free that Alyssa mentioned. I would love to know a little bit more about your story with diapers and how you got to the ones that you use now.
So I actually started out wanting to cloth diaper. I don't know where I got the information, but I knew diapers were disgusting from like the drop, and I wanted to cloth diaper. And David didn't refuse, but he said he would never change a cloth diaper. So I was like,
Ugh.
okay, well, we're getting the expensive ones then. So
Oh
I was
well.
like, we're not putting them in garbage. Sorry. So yeah, we got, and I cycled through several different ones. I had, because she was my first baby, I didn't know what was going to work and what wasn't going to work. We tried seventh generation. We tried Baby Ganix, Hello Bello. The seventh generation ones were like wearing a paper bag, so they were
That's what I've
they were
heard.
like
Never tried them because of
free
that.
and clear. They were free and clear of whatever, but they just weren't very comfortable and they weren't very effective. So A for effort, like D for efficiency. Um, and I liked the Baby Ganix, but they weren't as easy to find where I lived at the time. I ended up settling on the Cloud Island diapers back when Cloud Island had diapers. If you know, you know. I freaking loved the Cloud Island diapers. I bought like so many packs of diapers before we went to Germany and I was like so peeved that I couldn't ship them, because actually right after we moved to Germany they discontinued their Cloud Island diapers, and I was just like, gas, what do I do? Like, thankfully Germany is very baby friendly. They are very cognizant about certain things that go in their baby products, and so I transitioned to a German diaper and everything was great. I used German diapers for John. I even bought like pull-ups, German pull-ups, and shipped them home when we moved back to Arizona for a brief time. Then I used Little Rascals for him before they went and changed their diapers. And then he's been out of diapers for so long. And then Alyssa told me about the Pura ones, and I've been using Pura ever since. So it's
How
kind of
did you
been.
find the information on diapers? Do you remember on that? Because I feel, man, sometimes I feel like I was just so ignorant. Like I didn't even question or think about things like diapers and having toxic stuff in them. So how did you find the information? Do you remember from Hannah?
Honestly, who knows? I was reading, it was probably somebody's blog, like, because I was really into reading blogs back then. I was just reading blog after blog after blog, all the Pinterest thumbnails you can find. Like,
Mhm.
I was I was all about the research even back then. And I'd say my research, quote unquote, reading people's blogs, but reading people's experiences is like, it's its own kind of research. But like
Yeah.
a lot of times when you do read a blog, not always, but sometimes they include, oh gosh, sorry. They include research with it. And so it's like,
Mhm.
um you can verify that. One of my favorite websites way back when, I haven't followed her for a long time, is the Wellness Mama. So it's possible that I found it on her website. When I first started my like ditch and switch clean crunchy girl journey, it was before kids. So I was all on her website all the time because she was a wealth of knowledge, and she had all this like legitimate science to back it up. And so and once you find a resource like that, you kind of start taking it at face value, and you're like, okay, they know what they're talking about. It's kind of like if Rocasa puts something out, I'm like, okay, they know what they're talking about. I'm not probably going to verify it, even though I should. But yeah, it's got
Same.
to be a blog, honestly. But to like reply to what you said about being ignorant of whatever, I just think like we're born to be inherently good, like, and
Mm.
believe the best about things, and we believe that things made for babies should be gentle and safe and sweet, and like, so it's not anybody's first, second, third, or fourth thought to be like, oh, maybe it's toxic. So I don't know, just
Don't blame
food for thought
yourself. Blame
there.
the companies that are putting them they're safe. Oh,
Mine.
Sorry.
What?
just to put it
Oh,
out
that's
there.
interesting.
Hmm.
We can
um
add it in.
okay, is this it? How is this?
Oh,
Is this
girl, you
okay?
sound so good. Yeah, you
Oh, do
sound
I really?
good too. Yeah.
These are
You're
OG
frozen.
AirPods. I'm frozen.
You're not frozen.
Yeah.
It's Alyssa's Wi-Fi.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Dude, I need to move.
I love you too.
Or like
Okay, goodbye.
like rent a spot in a library or something every morning. I don't know. Actually, I can't do that at 7 a.m., but what is
It's
happening?
okay. We'll survive. It's not bad.
Okay.
It's not bad when we look at the recording. It's just your Wi-Fi connection with
Okay,
the
I'm
You're
on.
uploading, I think,
echoing.
right now. I'm
Let me see if I
echoing.
can put,
Okay,
is this
so
better?
while we're on this little brief pause, Hannah
So
told
much
me to
better.
tell you, Miss Leah, I love you. And
Oh my gosh,
then
Hannah, I love you.
Miss Alyssa, I love you. And tell Ray Ray and KK, I love them. That was her. Those are her notes,
I will.
right? Okay,
Love her
go to bed.
too.
I love her.
Get
Oh,
out of here.
she's so sweet.
This is
Go
it.
away.
Okay.
We love you. Bye. Okay, ready? Okay, and something that I want to add for people who are listening, cloth diapering, since I'm the only one out of the three of us who do it. I'll be totally honest. Like I said before, I didn't do it strictly because of the chemicals. I did it because I'm a tightwad. And in the end, it saves me money. So, but
Nothing wrong
for
with that.
people, I know literally it's who I am. I'm not ashamed. It's who I'll be till the day I die. Um, so the reason why I love cloth diapering because I'm a control freak. If you haven't learned that about me now, I'm a control freak. And one of the things I hated about Declan, not about him, but with diapers with him, was when I'd get close to running out and having to run to the store or having Travis run to the store because mom brain didn't realize how low we were, had to go run and grab them. Like it became a whole thing. I love with my cloth diapers, I literally have, I think it's 24 24 cloth diapers. And when I run low, all I have to do is throw them in the wash and dry. And I have them all rather than having to leave the house to go do it. So people think cloth diapering's icky. They think it's gross. Travis is such a champ. And he's like, babe, I'll do whatever you want. Sketches me out a little
Nice.
bit, but I'll give it a go. And I was talking to my friend Gwen, who she cloth diapers, and she told me about these biodegradable liners that you can buy that you put in your cloth diaper. So you'll have your cloth diaper, and there's this biodegradable liner that you basically lay inside the cloth diaper. So when your kids have a bowel movement, instead of it having to be yucky and you like having to clean the diaper by hand or you're putting that in your washing machine, all you do is you peel that biodegradable liner off and you flush it. Or if you still have like a diaper pail, you can just put it in your diaper pail. So when I'm washing our diapers, it's not like I am literally washing it with all of that on there. It's I take that off, I flush that, and then I just break down the diaper, I put it in a bag, and then I wash that. And so the only other thing that I probably have to do a little bit more often than the average Joe does is run a cleaning cycle on my washing machine more often just to keep it clean and not gross. But I overall really love it. I do have to say, I don't cloth diaper my kids at night or during naps because I know that there are things that you can buy for overnight inserts for cloth diapers, but I just can't get behind the fact that you can sleep in wet fabric overnight, period. Like, I just don't
Mm,
think that that's comfortable. I wouldn't want to
Mm.
do it, so I'm not going to make my kids do it. And so for our overnight and our nap time, I do use uh the either chlorine free or elemental chlorine free. The last pack of diapers I bought were Hello Bello because that's what was available at the PX and I didn't Amazon it. Tori just gave me some Pura that I've been using. The other one I will use, it's not totally chlorine free, but Pampers has like a sensitive skin, all natural diaper option as well
mm.
that I've used for Ella. And again, I'm only putting them on
Kansas
my
Pure.
kids.
Yeah,
Pampers
Pampers
Pure,
Pure.
that's the one.
Yeah.
I've bought that and used that for her because I'm only doing one diaper, maybe two a day, and those have been fine. I have to say, and I do have to note with my cloth diapering and that for Ella, when I used regular Pampers before Alyssa opened up my world to cloth diapers. I had used regular Pampers and Huggies with Ella, but it felt like every morning when she woke up, she would be irritated. It would be red when I would change her diaper. And then I would put her in the cloth diapers like throughout the day, and it would be fine. So that's just personal experience, but that's kind of what cloth diapering looks like for us. You can buy everything you need on Amazon. I have to say, if anyone is interested in it, my favorite brand for little babies is called Assembly, Esembly. We'll have Ryan add it to the show notes. They are completely blowout proof diapers. I kid you not. I can count
Crazy.
on less than 10 times that we used them for Ella until she was about 6 months old that we had a blowout. Like, and
That's
if it
amazing.
did, my definition of a blowout was it got on like the rim of the diaper, not up the back on all of the clothes. And that's one of my favorite brands for littles. But now I don't even know what the name of the brand is. I bought them on Amazon and they're one of the diapers where it's like a one size and you fold it down and then you can fold it out to fit up to a certain weight limit. And so with Declan, we used them and I used them until we potty trained him. And then now Ella is in those. So that is me with cloth diapering. Tori, what are your thoughts on it?
I don't know if we've talked about this because I popped in a little late, but I wanted to talk about swim diapers because I do use a reusable
Yeah.
swim diaper, and I have for all of my kids. I've never used a regular because I saw them with the blue dyes, and like I just knew. Hannah had a really bad reaction. I tried the Honest diapers with her when she was a baby, and that's how we got to Cloud Island. And so I was just, and they're so pretty. They're pretty diapers with tons of dyes
Mm,
on them. And she got such a bad, terrible, awful, like chemical burn rash from it. And so I was just very weary of anything. So I immediately, I've never used the little swimmers or whatever they're called. Um, and
Mm-hmm.
the snap ones um, that you can adjust to the size. Like you can snap them in the crotch
Yeah.
and you can snap them on the sides. There's like a triple snap. Those are freaking leak proof. They're blowout proof. We did a summer vacation when Johnny was like 1.5. He was like about Charlie's age now. And I had two of them. And don't ask me the brand or the name because I ordered them on German Amazon like ages ago. Um, I can actually probably look and see what they are. I'll try. We'll try to put them in the show notes. They are the
You
most
should.
quality, amazing, freaking diapers. Johnny pooped 100% of the time that he went in the pool. I don't know what it was. Every single time that dude got in the pool, he pooped. Never, and I was shocked by it every single time I would go to change his diaper after the pool. And I'm like, oh my gosh, you pooped. There was never a leak. There was no smell, nothing. Every time, 100% leak proof. And so, um, I'm still using the same one. I'm now using that one for Charlie. And he's actually never pooped at the pool this summer. So I can't say whether it's continued to be, but it still feels new because, we only used it for like a couple of months for 2 summers and then another few months for one summer. And but yeah, so I'm a big fan of reusable swim diapers because you buy it one time, they're like $10, $12 maybe for one, and then you just wash it with the swimsuits and you call it good. I just love it.
I
Yeah.
also
Love them.
second the reusable swim diapers because we also use those for Ella and I used them for Declan after I switched with the cloth diapers for him. I switched to that and then switched to reusable and I second that. Ella always poops at the pool. She is like Johnny and I can second that they don't blow out. And it's always when I go to change her afterwards, and I'm like, "Ooh, girl." I'm like, "That's gross." I think changing a poopy swim diaper is a little bit grosser than changing. just a regular poopy cloth diaper. And Declan is like, oh, sissy poo poo. Cracks her up, dude. Um, let's transition into wipes. I would love to talk about clean switches for wipes because this is also something that is just as fascinating to me as I'm sure it probably is to the listeners. Because again, this of all the clean switches that we have made in our house, this was not one of the things that I thought about until talking to you guys. So tell me a little bit about what you have learned about wipes and making the switch, Alyssa.
So, for the sake of time, I'll just give you just a little overview. Basically, go to Raising Well Kids. She breaks down the science so well. It's literally just the word Raising Well Kids all together on Instagram. She also has a website. She's awesome. They actually have their own brand of wipes. I don't buy them because they're really expensive, but I'm sure that they're amazing. Um, but I will tell you wipes that I hate and love. I love Parasol wipes. Fully worth the money. They are a little more expensive. I think they're like 6 or 7 cents a wipe. But you can get them on Amazon Subscribe and Save, and that, will save you 5 to 15%, I think, depending on your shipment. Um, they are the only wipe that I've ever used that come out one at a time, and they're thick and like you use less because of it. I hate Pura wipes. I hate Hello Bella wipes. They feel cheap and yucky. I hate Kinder by Nature wipes because they are like 10 cents a wipe and they're the quality of like the Pura and Hello Bella wipes, which are like 3 cents a wipe, give or take. And that just pisses me off. Um, at least Pura and Hello Bello aren't advertising like and charging you out the butt for their wipes. Um, Junia wipes are fine. Wouldn't buy them again. We have them right now. Because Parasol was out of stock, but they don't come out like you're getting like 3 or 4 whenever you pull them out, and that just irritates me. But Parasol wipes are my 100% love them, love them, love them. The issues with wipes is generally with the preservatives that are put in them. Um, Grapefruit seed extract. Sometimes sodium benzoate can irritate your kid. It's really individual. Um, Something I will say that a lot of people don't know, water wipes, not that great. Pretty not good, actually. Um, which I think is just some more false advertising on a part of the company because let me tell you, like, you would think water wipes, oh, just water, great. No, they're full of, I think, specifically grapefruit seed extract. At least Tori thought maybe they might have changed recently on Amazon. The ingredients haven't changed. So, do your research. Um, Maybe they have. But again, raising well kids, raising well kids, raising well kids. Let her pull it all together for you, and then you do your research on, what you like. But if you just want to wreck Parasol, they're amazing. They're worth the money. I'm obsessed.
Asked you this when we were chatting about this the other day. Tori, can you tell me like what is the big deal about grapefruit seed extract and wipes? Like, why would that be an issue for kids?
Um, I looked this up when Alyssa told me about it because I was using a pack of water wipes and she was like, those aren't very good for you, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, oh, really? Why? What's going on?
I'm the worst.
And you're the best. Stop it. You're the worst in the best way. Like you want someone like Alyssa in your life to question all of your life choices because she's done the research. Okay. But you know what? In this case, I didn't straight disagree with Alyssa, but I kind of made the choice that I was still going to use them because so grapefruit seed extract can be either a skin irritant or like upset your I don't know. I think I'm confusing it with something that you ingest like that upsets your stomach or something. But it to me, because I've been using them, I used them with Hannah. I used them a little bit with John, but not a ton. And then I've used them sparingly. I use Hello Bello. That's my like go-to wipe. I love Hello Bello wipes. I don't know. I've just never had an issue. They're smaller packs, so because I do not like a big giant fat pack of wipes in my backpack. Like, get away from me. Like, don't want that in my life. And they're just coming at a nice little pack of 80. Love it. They're a great price, and my kids have never reacted to them. And so when I looked up the grapefruit seed extract thing, it seemed like it was an irritant, like a skin irritant or something like that. And my kids personally have never had an issue with that. So I just decided, like, if it didn't irritate their skin, then we didn't need to discontinue using it. Now, it's not like the thing I go to, not because of that or anything, but just because it's not. But I personally wouldn't stop using it just based on that, because, and another thing to consider is that they are 99% water. So if it's only 1% grapefruit seed extract and you don't have like just uber sensitive skin or like some sort of like condition or whatever, I would think it would be fine. At least, so that's how I feel with my own kids. I haven't seen a reaction, and I have seen them react from other things, other diapers and stuff like that. So I know that they would have some sort of reaction if it was going to bother them. Um, so yeah, I'm pretty certain it's a skin reaction. I think I scanned them in my app. Here's a little plug for the Yuka app. If you don't have it, download it. It's so good. You can scan barcodes of stuff like shampoo, food at the store, diapers, wipes, whatever, and it gives you the ingredients, and it gives you a green, yellow, red rating, and it tells you why. It'll say this has been rated for yellow because of XYZ, and it gives you the research to back it up, and I freaking love that. So I'm pretty sure if I pull up my Yuka app, it'll tell me why
I
it's like that.
would
But
I would also say, like, I would never get rid of something that isn't actively affecting my kid. I would maybe choose something different if I found out that the ingredients were not what I wanted. I would choose something different when they were finished, but unless something was affecting my kid, I always finished it out. Um, and just a
so fair.
little
Yeah.
fun little conspiracy theory. It's not a conspiracy theory, but some would call it a conspiracy theory. Just think about the whole diaper rash thing. And if your diapers are giving you diaper rash, then you're buying diaper cream. And it's, they make money if your kid has a diaper rash. I'm just saying, why else would they put out diapers with terrible ingredients? Just saying.
Just follow the money.
Yep.
Okay, I love that because I love a good conspiracy theory. Now, like, yeah, I love a good conspiracy theory, honestly. And I'm in the camp of, having been a healthcare worker, is that a lot of stuff is, I don't think, for some people, that there's like a malicious intent. I think, sometimes when you get up high in big areas, maybe. But for me, like as a nurse, so for example, and this is a whole nother episode topic that we'll have, like vaccines and certain medications and interventions, is I don't think that there's malicious intent in some of those things, but a lot of it is just because it takes, found this research the other day, it takes 16 years for evidence-based information and research to catch up to evidence-based practice. So for people to implement what the evidence and research is showing, it takes 16 years of discovering something through research and it being implemented in healthcare. So I
Yeah.
infer that it's probably the same with things like this, is it's just, it takes people forever. Old dogs don't want to learn new tricks, and people don't want to change until there is enough profound evidence and they're kind of forced to do so. And so, yeah, no, I love that good conspiracy theory. Another switch that we made, which this is another rabbit hole, but okay, just kidding. I'll go down that rabbit hole later. Another switch we've made: nothing is allowed into my house on my children that has the word fragrance. on the bottle.
Mm.
Period. Period. And the reason why I pulled this up to share with everybody, and I challenge you, moms, to go to the store and look at all of the things that are supposedly natural and clean that have the word fragrance on the back. Because back in 1976, it's called the Toxic Substances Control Act that was passed, which contained a grandfather clause that exempted tens of thousands of existing chemical substances from safety reviews to be allowed to be put on bottles under the term fragrance. So this was something, and you can look it up, but this was something when when they were cracking down on what is in substances and labeling bottles because the length of labels were just too long and too much, that when they passed this act to where you have to disclose everything that's in it, tens of thousands, the clause exempted approximately 62,000 chemicals that were already in commercial use that do not have to be put like on labels directly and can be grandfathered in under if you put the word fragrance on a bottle. It could have other things in it. So a non-toxic swap that we make in our house is nothing is allowed on my children in my house that has the word fragrance on it, whether it is baby lotion, whether it is baby bath stuff, even for the kids, even for Travis and I, unless you are listing out the exact things that are making that smell, which is what they're trying to use for the word of fragrance. Perfume's another one. Fragrance or perfume, it's not allowed in. Like if you're saying orange fragrance or orange perfume, I'm not buying it. But if it's orange essential oil or whatever the scientific name is for that, then I will buy it if that's what it is for the smell. But nothing with fragrance. What are other swaps or any thoughts you guys have on that you guys make?
How much time do you have?
Um,
Just
I mean,
kidding.
yeah,
Just
maybe we
kidding.
should do some kind of like just rapid fire. What, you know, I use this for this, like for instance, for diaper cream, I either use Babo Botanicals or Root Apothecary, now Root Avenue, Bare Tallow Whip. I use the Babo for my travel because the Root whip comes in a glass jar. So what about you guys?
I love Rocasas. You turned me on to Rocasa. I've always been a big Young Living person, but I didn't love their diaper rash cream. But I
Mhm.
love Rocasa's baby bottom spray. And I love their like baby bottom like diaper ointment. It has helped Ella when she has gotten some of those irritations from she's had homegirl's been struggle busing with some nasty diapers lately. But that stuff is amazing. And if I put it on, like she's happier, I'm happier, we're all happier. So that's my favorite swap for diaper rash.
I also am big on ointment versus like a zinc based cream. I've tried so many over the years. I mean, I'm everything from really gross Aquaphor to I've done Young Living. I've tried stuff I've bought in random countries when we're traveling because, we've had some crazy diaper rash. And my favorite natural one is called Maty, Maty. I haven't tried
Yes.
the I haven't tried the Rocasa. I haven't tried the Babo Botanicals one either. But it reminds me of Aquaphor, and I
Mm.
was like really upset when I found out how yucky Aquaphor was because it works so well.
Mhm.
But it's got freaking petroleum in it, and I'm like, yuck. Like I can't, and once I know something, I can't unknow it. So I gotta just cut it out now. Now we gotta find and I just recently, like within the last year plus, have found out about Aquaphor. And I don't know, it slipped through the cracks. I mean, I have cut out probably 100 different products in my house, like everything from cleaning, bath and body, food, you name it. I have cut it out. I've swapped it. I've been on this ditch and switch journey for almost 10 years. So I've been ditching and switching for a long freaking time. So I couldn't believe that Aquaphor slipped through the cracks. But as soon as I found out, I immediately ordered something else. And we've been using the Maty ever since. And I love it. It comes in like a little, like, tube that's great for your diaper thing at home, great for your diaper bag. And Charlie doesn't really get much rash. I think his rashes, when he does get them, are because it's so humid here and he gets like, moisture and chafe. They're kind of like chafe based rashes, and rash is such a loose term. I feel like he really doesn't get like a whole lot of stuff going on down there. But, if he does get like a really crazy poop, which only really happened when I was on antibiotics when I had pneumonia last year. He got just wrecked. Homeboy got wrecked, and we needed that diaper groom so bad. But yeah, so I really like the Maddie, and I think I've literally probably tried 25 different diaper creams. A stupid amount.
Can you, because you were the person who told me about Aquaphor, because I was also a huge Aquaphor girl. Why is petroleum not an okay substance to put on baby bums?
Hold on, let me go to Yuka because I've scanned it. I know I have.
It's essentially it's the same thing as the gas you put in your car. It's not
Yeah.
exactly the same. It's refined and stuff, but you're putting like petroleum as gas, and you're putting that on your baby and in your car. So just
Yeah.
personally not something I want on my baby. Yeah.
I mean, I agree with that
What
wholeheartedly.
about
When I remember scanning it, it's red in Yuka. So it is because they say it's refined and purified and all this stuff, but it's really not. It's almost impossible to find actual true purified petroleum like that because it's all
well, it's
contaminated
just
and
yeah. It's also different. It's the way it's refined and that kind of thing because they're using other chemicals to refine it. But I will plug, I have an app called Switch Natural. You do have to pay like 20 or
ooh,
$25 for it up front, but then you don't, there's no other charges. And I'll scan an ingredient label and it will give me peer-reviewed articles to back up what it's saying about the ingredients that it flags, which I think is awesome.
stop. I freaking love that. I'm downloading it right
It's
now.
really great. It's so awesome. And you have
What's
to
it called
pay,
again?
like there's an investment up front, Switch Natural. But if you have an
Switch
iPhone, I think you
Natural.
can even share an account with other people in your family. Unfortunately for Android, they don't do that. Um, but yeah, they'll literally give you the evidence and the science behind why the ingredient is not good.
That's what it looks
So I
like
really
for
like
anyone
that
who's
because
actually
that
watching
gives
us.
me yeah. Um, that that gives me more
Okay, so you pay
confidence
for
in
the
what they're
app and
saying,
then
I guess.
everything in it is free.
Yes,
That's
versus like,
I okay,
I don't know, and
I love that.
yeah, I don't know anything about Yuka, but I know like EWG is pay to play. So you'll get like, you can look up
Mm-hmm.
Lysol and it'll get an A overall rating, but then if you go into it, it's like, okay, well, actually, this ingredient is an F, 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 like that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I would
Yep.
never, if you have the EWG app, I would just delete it personally, unless you're really going into it to look. But like, still, I don't really trust them because you're telling me it's an A and then you're admitting that it's a bunch of D ingredients. Like, it doesn't work. But yeah, what about teething? I
100%.
know for me, like, Earthly's Teeth Tamer is my ride or die. Like, Teeth Tamer, I live for Teeth Tamer, and sometimes I'll combine it or just use separately the chamomilla homeopathy. Um, and we're gonna do, I think I've got social media this week, and I'm just gonna do a whole run of all of this stuff so that you don't have to work super hard to find it. We're gonna put it on our link tree, do all this kind of stuff so that you can find all these things because I know we're talking about so many different things. But yeah, Teeth Tamer
Yeah.
and Chamomilla are my faves. They work so well. Teeth Tamer is like crack. My kids literally are like, I need Teeth Tamer. I'm like, no, you don't. You have all your teeth breaking.
Tori,
So
what do you
real
have to
quick,
add?
I just wanted to jump back to because I found the Aquaphor rating on Yuka,
Oh, yes.
and there's actually 3 moderate risk ingredients. There's the petrolatum, which is the petroleum we were talking about, paraffinum liquidum, which is a also a petroleum derivative. And it's like very toxic and impure. And then there's another one called Saracen, another petroleum derivative. So there's multiple, there's like stacked in here of these really impure, toxic petroleum things. And it's a possible carcinogen and a pollutant, which is why it's a moderate risk. And so anytime I hear possible carcinogen, I'm like, for what? If there is,
Mhm.
if that was the only product to ever grace the earth, then I guess we got to use it if we need it, but like when there are quite literally just 100 different alternatives that are not a possible carcinogen, and when everything, it feels like our water, our air, everything is just polluted and full of carcinogens, like why am I going to stack onto that?
Mhm.
If I can cut it out, if I can decrease the toxic load on my children and myself and our household, then why wouldn't I do it?
Yeah, and I was actually Googling while you guys were talking about it too. And that one thing I saw was how bad it is for the environment. Like, it's not something that's biodegradable. It's not something that breaks down. It's not something that can be reused. Like, it's something that builds up and can harm animals in the environment. And I didn't realize that. And
I didn't
that's, I
either.
mean, that's the reason why I switched to cloth diapers, right? Is because of
Mm-hmm.
how bad that is for the environment too, or regular diapers. And so I agree with you. At some point, like, you cannot control, and this is like, I'm not a Nazi when we go out in public, because like I can't control what happens and what my kids are exposed to in public, but I can control what they're exposed to at home. And
100%.
so when we
Mm-hmm.
choose to make these swaps, it's just because like we can protect them at home. I am also like, I'm a fan of natural immunity too. So like, I'm not a Nazi to where my kids are never allowed to get dirty or play in the dirt, but things that can potentially break down their immune system that you don't realize, things that could potentially like cause more harm to them that you don't realize, like, I'm just not okay with that. I want to protect them in that aspect. And so for me, that's why we make the switches we do. To go back to Alyssa's, what do you use for teething? Y'all, I'm going to be honest. Don't come at me. I don't believe in anything for teething. I've tried all the things. I've done all the natural things. I've done all of the non-natural things. For my children, none of it makes a difference, except for the only thing that makes a difference is we do popsicles. Love popsicles. And I
Mm-hmm.
get one of those one of the silicone teething things. You get them from Walmart, you can get them from Target, you can get them from Amazon, and I put like frozen fruit or frozen veggies in it. It's clear
Mm-hmm.
and it's basically like a baby feeder. And Ella doesn't need it now because she can eat, but it makes it easier to hold something cold. And so I will give her frozen fruit. I did that for Declan as well. That is the only thing for my kids. And I've tried all of the things personally. So you're not psycho if you've tried all of the things as well. And it doesn't help for your kids. The only thing that I found for us is doing the teether with the frozen fruit, um, or like pop pops or something. Even though I've thought all the things, it's really something that actually makes me quite sad. I do have to say though, I think chamomile helps a skosh for her to fall asleep, like less irritability for falling asleep. I believe in the chamomile. And Ella takes a passy, which Declan never did. And I also think the pasties help a lot as well, because then there's something for those gummies to kind of like munch on a little bit. Um, Something else that I'm passionate about as well is we use glass baby bottles. So I've never used formula for my kids, but Alyssa, I'm not sure. Were you my friend who told me about the really good like formula brand if you're going to use formula? Or Tori, was that you?
So
It
basically,
it might have been me. I don't know.
yeah, if you're gonna use formula, just don't use an American brand and you're probably fine. Um, but someone who has a really good formula insight and like puts it all together in a nice little package, is the Natural Minded Mama on Instagram. Mama is MOMMA.
Mm.
She was like, she's big, crunchy breastfeeder until she had a medically a special child. Her son was born with a lot of like lung defects, that kind of thing. He was in the NICU for a while, and they ended up having to use formula. And she goes like a deep dive, no judgment, what can I do if I'm breastfeeding and need to use formula, or just need to use formula for whatever reason, or want to use formula? What can I do to support my baby the best doing that? Because I am a big, don't come at me, but breastfeeding is the best thing you can do for your baby. I don't believe that that is like a real argument. And sometimes you have to use formula, and that's okay. But the fed is best kind of irritates me, because fed is necessary. Um, and we all want to do what's best for our babies. But breastfeeding, you can't compare breastfeeding to formula. There's just no comparison. But there are better formulas that you can give to your baby to help support their body and their gut and that kind of thing. And it's basically anything that's not American. But she really goes into that, and how you can just do that and support your baby with formula. So I would look into her if you're interested in formula and don't know where to start, because most of the like Similac, gross. Um, I honestly don't know formula brands because I haven't used it, but the if it's an American brand, you should really be checking it twice, because Americans suck, and hopefully we're fixing that. But as of right this minute, I wouldn't use an American brand if I was using formula.
Yeah. Where I was going with that was we use glass bottles for Ella. I started off with plastic for Declan, and then I learned about microplastics, which microplastics are like if you are drinking out of anything plastic, it's little small plastic particles that can get into your food or your drinks, which then you take into your body and build up in your brain. And you can look it up, but the stats are like the size of like a plastic spoon, or some people say a credit card, is how many microplastics the average like adult has in their brain. They've also been linked to dementia, and people who have dementia have a higher amount of microplastics in their brain. And so for us, again, I can't control the rest of the world. I can't control, what choices my kids will make later on, but I can control what I do at home. And so we do glass bottles at home when I do have to give a bottle, but that's not super often for us. I mean, one, they're more durable anyways, right? Two, if people are worried about the glass bottles breaking because their baby's holding their own bottle, I mean, that's not until they're significantly older. And then if we're going to be honest, at the point that your baby's walking around, you can switch them to a stainless steel bottle with a stainless steel straw and put their milk in that. They don't need to be drinking out of a baby bottle anymore by the point that they're walking around still drinking milk. Um, but yeah, that's a big switch we made, is we do glass bottles. I prefer the Dr. Brown's wide base bottle. I had breastfeeding issues with Declan and could not get him to latch onto a bottle to save his life. And I had to go to like 3 different lactation specialists. And finally, everything that's advertised, natural flow, looks like a mom's nipple, this and that, even from the color of the bottles that they advertise for you, the majority of that is not true. And I mean, just take a second and look at yourself, like look down and look at yourself and look at some of those nipples. Like it does not go from being long, skinny to all of a sudden flat against the bottle. Like, I don't know about you, but that's like not accurate. And so the lactation consultant, she recommended the Lancino bottles or the Dr. Brown's wide base, because those are truly the most natural type of a shape of what mimics the maternal breast. Now, that doesn't mean that you can't use the other bottles, but if you are having latching issues for your baby on a bottle, if you're trying to do bottles, those are the two that I would recommend. And Dr. Brown's does glass, Lancino does not that I know of. If I'm wrong, don't come at me, but I know Dr. Brown's does glass because those are the ones we've ordered, and those are the ones that we use for Ella. And we have like two, and I just wash them. And I don't think you need. I'm pretty minimalist and stuff. Like if I don't need excess, I don't want excess in my house. Um, any other thoughts on swaps for like baby feeding, breastfeeding, formula feeding, bottles?
I just wanted to like basically I agree with everything that you guys said, and I just wanted to pop in a couple of formula brands for people because I um I combo fed with Hannah for I was exclusive breastfeed, but then she had a tongue and lip tie really badly and she was like failure to thrive. So we had to introduce formula. She had at the time I didn't realize anything that I know now, and had I known everything I know now, everything would be different. But I gave her Similac Alimentum because that was the only thing her stomach could tolerate that didn't give her weird stools and stuff like that. Looking at the ingredients now, it literally makes me want to vomit that my baby ever had that. But you know what? I didn't know what I know. I did not know then what I know now. So I can't be mad at myself for something that I didn't know.
Say it
But
louder.
the combo, the combo feeding was killing me mentally. Literally, I felt like I was riddled with anxiety. I actually had to be on medication for a couple of months for anxiety because I had it so badly after I found out about her feeding issues and her failure to thrive and all that stuff. It just really went into a spiral. And so I had to just stop breastfeeding because I couldn't, I wasn't making enough milk to sustain her. And I didn't know what she was getting on the breast versus what she was getting in the bottle. And it was just, it was tearing me up inside, truly. So I just stopped breastfeeding and only fed her formula so I could know exactly what she was getting. And then we just continued formula until she was a year. And then we swapped over to like almond milk or something. And then with Johnny, he was in the NICU for the first 10 days of his life because, well, actually, that's not true. He came home for a few days. He got super jaundicey and then had to go into the NICU. But the Germans are very, very thorough and have higher thresholds for what they're willing to let go as far as jaundice numbers are. So he was in there for 10 days. He was a giant baby, you guys. So he was in there with all these little teeny weeny NICU preemie babies, and they just chuckled at him and just loved him because he was just the rolliest, poliest baby under those lamps. But I was staying there in the hospital with him, and I could visit him 24/7 as much as I wanted. I pumped a bunch, but they were supplementing with the German formulas. Aptamil hypoallergenic is what they give the babies in the NICU. You can tell by the smell and the consistency that it's just a wildly different formula. I tried to translate some of the ingredients and stuff and like how they formulate it. But German to English translation is not always, as we know, living in Korea, it's not always like, it's not same a lot of times. So I couldn't really figure it out, but he tolerated it really well. He never had any issues. So I just kept him on it because about 2 months in, I just like stopped making milk. He did not want to breastfeed at all. And I didn't have, it was COVID, like the height of COVID. So I didn't have good lactation support. And so, yeah, we went straight formula. So 2 out of my 3 kids have been essentially formula babies. And there is absolutely a huge difference in quality. And I could see it in the health of my son. Like he was just like a different guy health wise. Hannah wasn't like a super unhealthy kid, but I don't know. I could go into the details of that like at another episode. But Charlie is my only one who's only breastfed. So I used to really fall into the whole fed is best situation because I felt guilty. Like I felt really guilty that I couldn't breastfeed. And, obviously I couldn't make enough milk and I didn't know how to make more. And I didn't know anything about flange sizes. And like, again, everything I know now is so different wildly from when I was the first time or even a second time mom. And so um, you know, my baby had to eat. And because I had a failure to thrive baby, because I wasn't making enough milk, it was like this crazy mental, like I was failing. It was like this big, like mental health issue for me. So my baby's not getting not getting milk. I start to like spiral. Ask Alyssa when they were telling me Charlie had weight issues. I was like, oh my God, like freaking out about it.
We tried so many
Charlie,
different
my
pumps.
11 pounds, I know my 11 pounds at birth baby all of a sudden isn't gaining weight. Yeah. Okay. Um, but yeah, so I don't know. I just felt like I needed to put that out there. Like, I don't even know what else to say about it. There's probably more, but it's a lot. Sometimes you do feel like fed is best, and you have to just kind of live there because that's where you have to live. But there are better options if you mentally can't handle it anymore, you mentally need to do formula, or you physically can't make milk, or whatever it is you've adopted and you don't have you're not making any breast milk because you adopted or have a foster or something like that. There are super quality formulas, and they're all European. They're
Yeah.
Optimal, Hip, and there's one that starts with a K that I can't think of right
There's
now.
Holly too.
Holly, thank you.
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't
So
know
we
the
can
K
get
one.
some
Yeah.
of those. Yeah.
I would say too, like I am my, don't hate me. My perspective coming from this is I'm an oversupplier. I have I make a lot of milk, and I donate it, a lot of it, because I make a lot. And so I know I'm not coming from a perspective of I literally couldn't make the milk or I had to work really hard to make the milk. Um, but I think that my irritation, and like this is not judgment on formula feeding moms, but my irritation, again, literally every single time, my irritation is with the formula industry and these big companies that are pushing their formula because they make money. You can't breastfeed, just use formula. And that's so not true. And
Mm-hmm.
it's so anti-empowering women. That's why I get fired up about this. It's not because you're feeding your kid formula. It's because you're being told that you can't do it and you're not given the right resources to figure out how to do it. And sometimes you just can't do it. Sometimes your body just doesn't work with you, and that is just a fact of life. But I think so many moms that are told, like, oh, you need to supplement because your baby isn't gaining as much weight as we want, or they're not getting back to their birth weight. Well, your baby's birth weight, if you've been on IV meds and stuff while you're giving birth, is artificially inflated by the water weight. So your baby's not gaining back weight, but maybe they're gaining fine weight. But that's not what the doctors tell you. That's not what the formula companies tell you. They say just have a little bit of formula because it'll just make you feel better. Okay, well, you give a little bit of formula and then you're not breastfeeding as much. So your supply falls, and then you don't know why your supply falls, and no one's there to help you get it back up. And that's what really irritates me, because it's really just one big money making scheme that some people definitely do need, but they're pushing their formula and not like just overall like insurance, all of that kind of thing doesn't cover lactation consultants as much as they should, because formula costs money and breastfeeding is free essentially. So that's where I get fired up, not that you're using formula. So I just felt
That's
like
so
sometimes I
fair.
get very
Yeah.
fired up about things and it comes off very judgy, and that's not how I intend. But it just irritates me how anti women the whole system is sometimes.
Well, and I hope I didn't add to making you seem judgy. I
No,
know, I
not at
think
all.
because I just know you, and I know you're such a genuine, kind person. Like, I know Leah's intro is a girl's girl, but you're totally a girl's girl also. So for anyone that to me in my mind is implied because I know
We're
you.
in this weird
But
situation where people don't know me, or not everyone might know me, and they're like, who is this like awful, terrible girl who just hates anything that she's
no.
not doing?
No, you're the best.
But yeah,
Labor
pro
nurse
woman.
perspective. Yeah, I agree. Pro woman. Labor nurse expected perspective coming from me, even though I know we're not talking about like feeding right now, but here we are, we're down this rabbit hole. Um, I am of the mindset fed is best, period, because fed is necessary. So that's why fed is best. And I'm thinking of just in general because I went down a dark tunnel breastfeeding Declan. I'm an oversupplier, but I was such an oversupplier that my letdown was so aggressive, it would like choke him. Gag reflex. He developed an aversion to breastfeeding, but I couldn't get him to take a bottle. So for feeding him for the first 2 to almost 3 months of his life, I had to sit there while he screamed after my initial letdown until he calmed down and or I sprayed enough everywhere from the letdown that he would then like latch because he wouldn't take a bottle either. So like, and then he wouldn't let me hold him. Like my chest wasn't comforting for him. So like the falling asleep on me like wasn't a thing because it created this aversion. If homie would have taken a bottle for my sanity, I would have given him a bottle in the heartbeat because I wasn't my best self. And like at the end of the day, you know, and I know where you're coming from too, but this is me also wanting to affirm, you know, friends and family who are listening who come from different backgrounds, postpartum depression, special needs children, working moms who don't have the privilege of being home and or like nurses like me. I didn't get a pump break. I would clock in at 6:45, clock out at 8 p.m. I wasn't allowed to sit every 3 to 4 hours to pump if I needed to. Like I had to
That's
buy wearable
ridiculous.
pumps and pump on the go. And so like for moms, like and so that's me coming from like a different perspective of then like if having to work and you don't get a pump break. Like I'm pro women too, and I know you are. And like this is the reason why these are issues is it's systemic. Like it's not the
Hmm.
individual mom making the choices, it's the system that is failing. It is the employers who are not allowing moms to have
Yes.
pump breaks. Therefore, moms are having to work. Therefore, the supply is dropping because everything's so freaking expensive that
Hmm.
being a single income household is virtually like unreal. Like military, we are so blessed because we get BAH. And I will have to say, like, I think if we weren't in the military, I don't think I'd be able to be home with the kids right now, like we are, but because of some of that's like an advantage versus a lot of civilian friends that we have, like that's not an option. Like they don't make enough on one income. And it's just, it's systemic. It's systemic is what I'm saying. And fed is best. You do what you need to do to provide for your family. I don't think formula is an excuse. It shouldn't be an easy go to, you grab it like just because as an excuse. Like there are reasons and times and your mental health, your baby's health, all of those things I think is more important. But going into the systemic issues and the evidence-based practice, a lot of moms don't realize this. Like you're not the problem. If you are in the hospital, and healthcare isn't out to get people either. I want to preface with that because I have, 6 years this year as a registered nurse. I've only ever done labor and delivery. I've done labor and delivery. I've done postpartum. Like I've taken care of all of these moms. I've seen the breakdown of healthcare. For us to be up to date on evidence based practice, as a nurse, I have to go find the evidence myself and then make the decision to go against the grain to implement it into practice. Like I mentioned earlier, it takes 16 years for evidence research to catch up to practice. And in healthcare, a lot of the times they're so fixated on if your baby drops more than 10% of a body weight, they want to make sure your baby's feeding well before they go home. Like all of these things are done well because they want your baby to be healthy. But it's not taking into account, like Alyssa said, the water weight from the super long inductions, and you have to be on fluids, and they're not taking into account how much weight your baby's gaining from there. So your baby's going to lose that. So like 10% is not necessarily bad in some cases. We're not taking it case by case. Another thing is sometimes nurses who don't have kids, nurses who haven't breastfed, nurses who don't have the education on it will go to and grab a bottle to just give a baby because it's easier, because we're busy, because we don't have time to sit there and help you figure out how to get a baby latched on. And it's not because we don't care about you. It's, again, systemic breakdown, the patient load of nurses in the hospital and what I am required to do, what I'm required to chart. And so it's like too much. And so sometimes I don't have time to do that because I have to take care of another patient. So they'll grab a bottle. I was so guilty of this as a new nurse, of just grabbing the bottle and giving it to a newborn because I didn't have time to help the mom figure it out if she wasn't supplying. And I like hate that younger version of me, but I didn't know better versus I do now. And nipple confusion's a thing. And the bottles that are given to you in the hospital sometimes are still way too fast for newborns. And what happens with nipple confusion is it's not something unfixable, but for whatever reason, the hospital will give your baby a bottle or give you a bottle to give your baby because they think they need it when you don't. And the milk comes out so fast that the milk does not come out that fast after you're let down when you're nursing. And so what happens is babies are like, wait a minute, I don't want to do all the work to get this milk out. Like, I want the fast option if you give too many bottles. And so that'll cause nipple confusion where then they will not want to nurse or they'll kind of rebel a little bit. And so, again, I don't think healthcare is out to get people. It's just, you don't know what you don't know. And it's systemic breakdown. And that even goes into the pediatricians. My kids are 10th percentile or less in body weight. Both of my kids. I got little people. And every time I go in, they ask me if I am I've been told to pump milk into a bottle to give my babies bottles to make sure I know how much they're getting. No, I'm not freaking doing that. They're getting the same amount. I've been told to supplement formula because they're not gaining enough weight. But you're saying that my baby is supposed to gain the same amount of weight that a formula fed baby is? When we know formula does not have the same amount of calories, yet you're going to put them on the same growth chart. And then you're also saying, me and my husband, who are like average height, are our babies supposed to grow at the same rate that, like, one of my best friends and her husband, who are like both 6 feet and their baby's like longer, versus my sister, who's 2 or 3 inches younger than me, not younger, smaller than me. And so her babies may have been small. Like, you're saying all of our babies have to grow at the same rate, that's like the same. And so because mine
Amen.
are lower, I got to give them formula. Like, no. If you're meeting milestones, if they're not acting like they're starving, if they're happy, you don't need to. I don't give a crap what your pediatrician says. Like, done. And secondly, this is my last thing, and we can get back to healthy swaps. If I am still breastfeeding, I am not giving my baby cow's milk just to supplement calories. They are still getting what they need from my milk. I am a big believer of, like, there is no reason if I am nursing that I should be having to give you like bottles of milk. If I am done nursing, sure, we can increase our dairy, but that doesn't mean like I'm going to stop nursing to replace it with cow's milk. You can have yogurt, you can have cheese. There are plenty of other ways to get the calcium and the vitamin D that they're looking for in that without you having to feel like 12 months, my supply has dropped significantly. Mother Nature has returned. I'm not giving Ella milk because of that drop. She's still getting what she needs, and I can get the vitamins she needs in other ways. So there's no need for you to feel like you have to supplement with formula at that point. If they're not acting like they're starving, if they're eating milestones, if they're on solids, all of those things, there is no pressure. I don't care what your pediatrician says. Like my
Require
doctor.
them to treat you as an individual, not as a not as a statistic, because everyone is an
Yes.
individual and they will default to the statistic for the reasons that Leah said. There's not a lot of time. The system is jacked up, but the only way we fix the system is requiring a fix to the system. And that might get you
Mm.
labeled difficult. And guess what? You go, girl. Be difficult for your kid. That is okay. If
Yes.
that really stresses you out and that gives you anxiety, bring your husband with you, bring a friend with you. Let me tell you how fast I would be at my friend's pediatrician appointment if they were like, this stresses me out, I need backup. Oh, I would be there so fast and I would bring a binder, okay? Like, I'm there.
Yeah.
We're
And one other
ready.
resource I want to recommend, and she's great for just toxic swaps as well, is Dr. Green Mom. She has a
Yes.
list of vaccine friendly and vaccine tolerant. So this is a whole nother episode when we talk about vaccines and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Pediatricians all across the country who you can go
Yes.
to. And a lot of times, any of these providers are also going to be more up to date on the evidence-based practices and more
Mm-hmm.
holistic and clean living. And so I would definitely recommend, like, look at her, see if there's a pediatrician in your area, especially if you're a new mom or you're wanting to switch or you're having issues. And like, it's okay to try out a new pediatrician and it's okay to shop around.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, I heard this stat on 1,000 Hours Outside. I was listening to her podcast the other day and she was talking to a sleep doctor and she was talking about the fact that like pediatricians only have like an on average annually like 4 hours of sleep education for kids, right? So like, we talk about sleep and issues like that. Like me as a mom can know more about sleep than my pediatrician. So you
Mm-hmm.
as a mom can know more about some of these topics than your pediatrician because they know a little about a lot. And what they
Mm-hmm.
have to do for like continued education annually is not a ton compared to what you think. And so if you feel strongly and you feel convicted and you've done adequate research, like this is just empowering you, like it's okay to choose a different pediatrician if they're not supporting you in any of the swaps that you want to like do or you want to have. And back to swaps, one swap that I love, ear infections, garlic oil.
Mm-hmm.
Garlic oil is something that we have on hand in my house all the time. And anytime there is a cold or a flu or a virus going around, every time I took Declan to the doctor, I was told he had an ear infection. Okay, they prescribe you antibiotics. Okay, antibiotics, antibacterial. So that is to be given when there is a bacterial infection because that's, one of the fastest, easiest way to kill bacterial infections. Yet 99% of the time, to know something is a bacterial infection, you have to do a test. Okay, when you're looking in my kid's ear to tell me that there's an infection that you're prescribing me an antibiotic for, you're not swabbing. There's no test to tell me that it's a bacteria. It could be viral because they're looking for inflammation of the eardrum and they're looking for inflammation of the ear canal and like red and irritation. Red irritation inflammation does not necessarily dictate viral or bacterial, but they always will go to prescribing antibiotics. And Declan got tore up. Homie was on antibiotics, and this was before I knew. He was on antibiotics for almost like 6 weeks straight, like rotating through. And it tore up his stomach. So one of the things we do now is instantly if they get a fever, a cold virus or anything, I get like a cotton ball or I use my finger to put garlic oil right here. And for those who are just listening, I'm behind my ear and like rubbing it like down my neck to where your jawline goes down. And I put it there 3 times daily for a couple days. And if the fever hasn't broken and we haven't gotten back to normal within 3 to 5 days, then we will go into the pediatrician. And if there is still an infection, inflammation, things like that, then I would administer antibiotics and or I'll go in, I'll get the antibiotics filled. And the same thing at home, 3 to 5 days. If the fever hasn't broken on its own, then I'll give that. But garlic oil is like something that is an all natural swap that we keep in our house for getting sick and preventing and treating ear infections. So Dr. Green Mom, if you go to her website, she also talks about that as a swap. Tori, what do you have to add to that?
So nothing to add to exactly what you said, but I wanted to add something for bug bites, and I also wanted to talk about kid clothes.
Mm.
So for bug bites, I give a combination of things. Alyssa really turned me on to homeopathy, and now I'm a freaking freak about it, and I love it. So I always give two things. So Hannah, my daughter, gets eaten alive by mosquitoes. They love her. They eat her for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, plus a couple of snacks. Second breakfast, second lunch, second dinner. Like she is eaten up all summer long. especially this last month. And she's been getting a lot of, like, when she gets bit constantly, she starts having higher and more reactions. So she'll get like much more swelling, or she'll get like a really big, like she had a golf ball size swelled thing on the back of her leg from a bite just a couple days ago. And so something that I've started implementing is apis and ledum homeopathy given
Mhm.
together. I give it every time. The apis alone just like starts to clear it out. But if I notice it's something really significant, I give it a couple of times in the day. And then I was using this Stop the Itch cream from Rocasa, but I was reading up about the lymphatic cream, and people were like swearing by using the lymphatic cream for bug bites. I tried it yesterday. Freaking wonders. It is worked so much better than the Stop the
Fun.
Itch stuff. I I have a little Stop the Itch stick, and I feel like for some reason that one might work. I keep that in like my go bag, my go, like my little first aid kit I have in my bag. And so if she gets a bite on the go, I like rub that on there. And she said it usually helps, like for like the little bites. But yeah, the lymphatic cream from
Mm.
Rocasa has worked so freaking well for her super swollen, crazy bites. Like she had one that was like, I mean, the center of the swell was about this big. And for those not watching, it was near the size of a quarter, like the white center swollen part on the bite. I was like, whoa. I put the lymphatic cream a couple hours later. It wasn't even inflamed anymore. It was still red, but it wasn't like gnarly, nasty, white, like scary looking anymore. And I was just like, dang, where's this been all my life? So I need I need to get some of the lotion or something so I can get it to go. I need some lymphatic cream lotion to go now, because I'm discovering. I did like this deep dive on the lymphatic cream on the Rocasa Facebook page the other day, and I'm just like, oh, it's for that, and it's for that, and it's for that. I was like, yeah, I'm about to become
Everything.
a lymphatic cream person. Um,
They do have a
but
lotion
so
too.
there's that. Okay, cool. Yeah, I'm gonna need that. Um, So, so yeah, the bug bite stuff, homeopathy plus the lymphatic cream is just like the most immaculate thing for bug bites. I also wanted to say that I agree completely with the teething stuff that Alyssa uses. It's been life changing with Charlie. Um, yeah. So, and then the clothing. So this is something that I have only recently started thinking about, looking at, trying to swap, and it's the fabric that your clothing is made from, and then also if it has been treated with flame retardant. Now I know this is
Hmm.
real rabbit holey for those of you who might be on your just embarking on your crunch journey, but remember, I'm almost a decade long veteran in this process, so we're getting into the depths, the nitty gritty, if you will. um, if your kids like pajamas come with those yellow tags on them that say like, those are good, those have not been treated with flame retardant. There's also been a lot of research that's come out about polyester and other synthetic fabrics that have been linked to endocrine disruptor things. And they, like, your skin, something to remember in all of this that I don't know that we've mentioned, is your skin is your largest organ in your body. You
Mm.
absorb everything directly into your skin. Anything you touch, whether that's a Lysol wipe, shampoo, a diaper, whatever, it's going directly into your bloodstream right when you touch it.
Hmm.
So anything that touches our skin, to me, is like number one, should be the first things that we swap. And so I've started looking at the kids' clothes, and for pajamas, that's kind of where I'm starting, is pajamas. If it's not cotton, goodbye. Like, get out of here. We need 100% cotton over here, because not only is it breathable, but not that, of course, 100% organic sustainably farmed cotton pajamas and clothing and linen and whatever would be great, but that's just not reality. But I'm just trying to cut out the synthetic fabrics. And then something else that, I think a lot of moms, just in general, not just military moms, but like most moms, I feel like are buying secondhand clothes, and or they're getting hand-me-downs, or you're swapping with other moms. Like it's amazing. It's one of my favorite things. I love hand-me-downs. I love clothing swaps. Love all of that. It's good for the environment. It's good for your wallet. It's good for everybody. It's good for your closets to get it out of your homes. But I do think there's a lot of built up chemicals, body oils, maybe smoke, pet dander, all kinds of things in those clothes. And so this is something I am just literally like yesterday. I noticed that some of the clothes that I got from the last clothing swap still have an odor after I've washed them a few times. I think it said you have to wash at least 10 times to get old stuff out, but I wasn't satisfied with that. So I stuck it all in my big giant bathtub, and I filled it up with like baking soda, the Branch Basics version of OxyClean, which is just like baking soda and a bunch of other natural good for your life stuff, and some laundry detergent and some vinegar, and I just let them sit in there, and the water was disgusting, let me tell you. It was so gross. But like getting all of that out of the fabric, because it's something you don't think about, especially if you're already using a fragrant detergent or something like that. You're not really like, I can tell you now, when I roll up on someone who uses like Gain or Downy or something like that, or Victoria's Secret perfume, Bath and Body Works, I'm like, whoa, yeah, hello, I'm gonna need like a 5-foot radius from us at all times now, because I'm so sensitive to it. Versus before, it never
Gives me
bothered me.
headaches.
I used all that stuff. Same.
Yeah.
It's crazy when you decrease your toxic load, how much you're impacted then by an encounter with someone with a high toxic load. I feel like that's going to be so offensive to somebody. They're going to just be like, I don't have a high toxic load. But sweetie, you do. If you smell like Gain, if you're spraying yourself with Bath and Body Works all the time, like you probably have a high toxic load. We love you anyways.
We promise
but
the
your
real
load is toxic.
Okay. We're not judging you, but we are going to tell the truth. That's just life.
That part.
Oh. But yeah, I'm a huge fan of used clothes, but that is such a good point, just to like stick them, like that's so low maintenance. Like all I have to do is fill up my tub, throw some stuff in there, and then stick the clothes in. Like I can just leave it for hours. Like that's a great way to detoxify those things. Because yeah, some clothes come smelling like aggressively. And I will say, okay, you're not going to like it again. You know what's coming with all those toxins? Clothes from Shein. Sorry. They are.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
And
I don't
I'm
shop at
not
Shein.
I'm not like, I don't buy organic cotton unless I can get it for the same price. But I will thrift organic cotton all day long. But yeah, now I will be doing a little bathtub soak before even washing them, probably. Maybe I'll do a wash, then a bathtub soak, then a wash, which sounds stressful, but don't be stressed. Like it's mostly you just leave it and don't worry about it. But yeah, that's a great thought.
So clothing adjacent, something I recently, again, I'm in the weeds now of my ditch and switch, right? I just swapped all of our sheets to organic cotton, and I found a really great brand on Amazon called Lane Co. or something like that. We can link it. But I was skeptical because they were only like $40 for a set of sheets for queen, and it was like $35 for twin XL, which is what my big kids sleep in. And I've been like on the OEXO 100. I've been buying those for a long time, like towels and sheets and stuff, to make sure that, just to try to be better about it. But they actually have been so great. I've loved them so much. They get softer with every wash. And so it's been like a cheaper swap that I could actually get something that was organic cotton. I was like, oh, I love this. Love this for us. But you know, what you sleep on, what your face is laying on all night, you know, even if you could just get an organic cotton pillowcase or something, like that would be a big thing. But
Mhm.
something you said last episode, Alyssa, was just pick something and go with it. And I think that
Yeah.
is just like something that applies here. Pick something. It doesn't have to, you could get in the weeds all day long, and it's really easy to get overwhelmed with this and not know where to start. And I feel like a lot of us have, it started with an issue that we've resolved, that we've like, why do we have this issue? And then like, okay, well, what else is there? And, I think different minds work differently, but, just pick a thing, whether it's diapers, whether it's detergent, whether it's clothing, whatever it is, just pick something and then, ditch and switch as you're able. Every little bit counts.
Maybe before we do our Momtroversial Moments, we could do just real fast top three. If you were picking your top three things that you would choose to switch out first, what would they be?
Baby edition, right?
Mhm.
Sure,
Okay.
anything. For me, it would
I would
be
say,
diapers, wipes, and laundry detergent. Done.
okay, so
Personally.
I'll do three that are not that, because diapers and wipes and laundry detergent, that makes a lot of sense. But you already said
Mm-hmm.
that, so I'm not going to be redundant. So I would do like lotion, soap, and diaper rash cream. No, I lied.
Yeah.
I would do lotion, soap, and glass bottle if you're going to do bottle feeding. That would be my three.
Mm.
And lotions and soaps for babies do not have to be expensive. You don't have to do bougie brands, like if you don't want to. Literally just look at the back of the products. And
What
Mm-hmm.
like
bar
the
soap?
number one thing to make sure, yeah, bar soap. Oh my gosh. Yes, I love
Follow
bar
bar soap.
soap. Yes. Just make sure that on the back of it, it doesn't say fragrance or perfume. Like that's
Hmm.
like the number one thing I would recommend, because you do not know what's in that if it has those ingredients. So lotion, soap, glass bottle.
Hmm.
Okay, you guys took all of mine, so I'm just kidding. But really, those are where I would start. Also, I think if I was going to move on to something else, I would say cleaning products, what you clean with,
Mm.
around, not just for you but for your baby too. Um, ditch the Lysol and the Clorox wipes and get a non-toxic cleaner. And then pretty much anything that touches your skin, your sheets, your clothes, underwear. Okay, that's a big one for those of you who
Hmm.
have children and self who are out of diapers. Get at least 100% cotton underwear. And if you can, organic cotton underwear, great. Costco actually has organic cotton underwear for kids for super good price. So
Nice.
something to think on. But yeah, I mean, underwear that gets right up next to your skin in a very sensitive area. So I think that's
Yep.
a huge thing.
Yeah. And this is something I just need to commend Alyssa on. Me being the tightwad that I am, and for anyone who's listening, if you're like me, like I have always struggled paying more for things. Like I have just always been so money conscious. I don't know why. Just even since I got my first job, was younger, I just don't like spending more than I have to on stuff. And a lot of times, unfortunately, and systemic issue overall, some of the better choices are more expensive, but there are a lot of
Mm.
cheap, better choices that you can do. Like if you're going to get into cleaning, that's a whole nother episode we'll get into. Baking soda, vinegar, lemons, hydrogen peroxide, super simple, like natural breaking stuff down. But Alyssa has always been so good at, just doesn't even matter. Like, and I'll ask her, price and stuff. And I'm like, I just don't understand. Like, how do you, when you're making these choices, like you spend that much money. She's like, it's like a non-issue to me, because at the end of the day, what is better for me and my kids is what's more important. So if that means, sacrificing in other areas to have what's best and know I'm doing the best thing, that's the biggest priority. And so that's me just commending you, because I just think it's so admirable coming from someone like me who's just so like tightwad all the time, that you're like, it's not about the money. It's about the effect on my kids and my family and protecting them.
Yeah, we don't go
You're
out
So
to
so
eat
yeah.
a lot.
awesome.
Ryan would probably prefer to, but we buy total chlorine-free diapers instead.
Okay, so we have freaking gotten in the weeds, and I love the weeds of the clean swaps, and we'll have more episodes coming up on, clean swaps household, clean swaps on personal stuff, clean swaps getting into medicine, stuff like that. But now it is the time that we've all been waiting for, the controversial moment. The moments that make you laugh, the moments that make you cry, the moments that make you just say, yep, that's mom life. And I'm going to start this week because mine is really cute and it's about Ella. And Ella is just really cute. Declan's really cute too.
So cute.
But Ella is walking all over the place. And her new thing is, and I don't know why she waits, but she waits until I put her in her sleep sack to go to bed, either for a nap or bedtime. And she does this little waddle. Travis recorded it last night. I'll have to send it to you guys. In her sleep sack, and she tries to go fast, but she keeps falling because she can't. And she walks over to her dresser every night while I'm reading Declan's stories and opens it up and starts pulling like her socks or her bibs out, and then does this really fast shuffle back to me and bright eye, like hands me the sock or the bib or whatever. And I'm like, oh, thank you. And then she's like, and turns out and does it again. And it becomes this whole thing. Like she's just going back and forth, bringing me this stuff. And she's so excited to bring me this stuff. And last night, after her doing this every day this week, this is what she's done every day at bedtime, Declan decided to join her. And so what was happening was Declan was running back and forth and she was handing him stuff out of the drawer to bring to me. Like it was like they were making a train, and it was so cute. Travis had it recorded. I'll have to send it to you guys. And it's the shuffle. It's the sleep sack shuffle, and her excitedly giving me just a random object and going back for more because I just said thank you. So
That's
that
so
is
cute.
us this week.
I love that.
Who wants to go next?
I'll go.
Oh, I could.
My
Okay.
girl's new thing is in the car. We'll be sitting, and the light will turn green, and I'll be waiting for the other cars in front of me, and they're like, go, mommy, the light's green, go, mommy." Or they'll tell me to like go faster while I'm driving or slow down while I'm driving, and I'm like, listen, this is the definition of backseat driver. What is happening? But they think it's hilarious, and it is. Sometimes I'm like, I cannot, okay? I can't. You just gotta wait.
I love
Literally,
that.
Declan did that this week too. And I'm like, bro, do you not see the cars that are in front of me right now? Like, where am I gonna go? Where am I gonna go, homie?
It doesn't get any better, just so you know. It keeps going. Except for then they'll start calling you out on the things that you've done. You're like, oh, yep, you're right. I shouldn't have done that. I have a two-part mom-controversial moment. One's really funny, and the other one is really sweet. I'll start with the sweet one, and then I'll end with the funny one, just so we can end on a like haha note. So I've been really struggling, like just in general. I feel like I'm on the absolute struggle freaking best right now. But I've been really trying to channel. I've been trying to breathe through my frustrations and just like not freak out on everyone. And I've been audibly narrating what's happening inside on the outside so my kids can kind of understand, like when you have a little bit older kids, like it's really nice because they can start to like see instead of wondering and guessing, because I feel like I spent a lot of time as a kid wondering and guessing why my mom or dad might have been upset, and so I'm just going to tell them, like, I'm I'm really frustrated right now because I just completely cleaned all the floors in the kitchen. And then Hannah came in and dumped a bunch of stuff right on the floor and literally just walked away. And I was just like, okay. And so I'm audibly, Johnny's sitting at the table finishing his dinner. I'm like, okay, I'm really frustrated right now because I just cleaned the floor and now it's dirty again, like almost immediately. But I'm just going to clean it and it's going to be fine. And I said all of that out loud, which is normally a thought I would have had on the inside. And Johnny just says to me, and this is one of the most precious things I've thought about it 25 times since it happened like a few days ago. He's like, Mommy, breathe with me. He's like, in, out. He's like, Mommy, you want to blow out the candles? And I'm just like, yeah, I want to blow out the candles. It struck me. It was one of the kindest things that he could have ever done for me in that moment. It was like he saw me. He saw that I was frustrated. Like, Johnny is so many things, but he is just like so kind and sweet. His heart is so big. And the fact that he was just like viewing that whole scenario and he's just like, Mommy, breathe with me. And I was just like, okay. Like, I don't know. That was so touching to me. I think we have like these touching moments as kids, but I swear that's going to go down in like my top 3 forever, all the time, most touching moments probably of like my entire parenthood. So had to highlight my little sweetheart there. And moving into my funny one. So as we all know, Hannah is my little mom. Well, she started saying we're just 2 moms doing blah blah blah. So like we're sitting on the couch doing her homeschool and she's like, Mom, she's like, we're just 2 moms sitting here on the couch just reading. Or she'll be like, we're just 2 moms riding our strollers through the store. We're just 2 moms. And so that's like the theme. We're just 2 moms. And she is like, fully believes that she is a mom. And you know what? In her own right, she absolutely is. She freaking feeds those kids. She puts them to sleep. She homeschools them. She takes them to the doctor. She does all the things that you would want a mom to do. She's a full-blown doctor and nurse herself, in case you didn't know.
Naturally.
But
she's that great.
naturally. She is. Yeah, she's the whole package. But yeah, we're just 2 moms. just doing life together.
Cute.
And I just love it.
I love her so much. Hannah, I love you. I know you're not listening to this, but I love you. And your mom will tell you when you wake up that I love you.
I'll tell her.
Every time I see her, Miss Leah, can we have dinner at your house? Miss Leah, will you come hang out with us? I'm like, oh, Hannah, I want to. I always feel bad when I have to tell her no. Like, it kills me every time I have to tell her no. I'm like, I'm sorry, but no.
Okay, you are such a
Um,
role model for her. She started, ever since she saw you do the flip on the trampoline, she started doing it by herself at gymnastics.
All right.
Yeah.
yes,
She
that makes me so
she
happy.
hasn't like mastered it or anything, but like it gave her the confidence to go for it. Like, because that was a very new skill in her new gymnastics class that she was like, whoa, okay. But then she's like, oh, Miss Leah does it, so I can do it. And I just,
Yeah, she
so,
Everyone
can.
loves Miss Leah.
so everyone loves Miss Leah.
That's literally, y'all, I kid you not, that's a goal of mine. Like, my literal goal in life right now is to be the mom that all of my kids' friends are like, oh my gosh, I want to go to Declan's house. I want to go to Ella's house. Like, I want to be around their mom. That's my goal. So thank you
Yes.
guys for making my dream come true so far with your kids.
Thank yourself.
Love it.
Thank you guys so much for tuning in to this really long episode about swaps. You can tell it's something we're passionate about. And if you guys have any of your favorite swaps that you want to share, or if you have any questions, give us a follow at Momtroversial Podcast on Instagram. Send us a DM. We would love to chat with you. Until the next time, keep it real and keep it Momtroversial. And we'll see you guys next week. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.